Warning, listening to this ad may cause sudden cravings and spontaneous happiness. Because at Bedina's eShop, we bake sweet breads so good they've been known to stop arguments, fix bad days, and make your dog think you're the favorite again. From our famous mini loaves to cookies and dog treats, everything's homemade in Amarillo, Texas with real ingredients and a whole lot of Mimi magic. Need a treat for yourself? A peace offering? A bribe for your kids? We don't judge. We just bake. Order at bedinaseshop.com. Follow us on Facebook or catch us at the Golden Spread Farmers Market in Amarillo, Texas. Bedina's eShop, baking happiness and occasionally preventing meltdowns. Link in description. Hello and welcome to Noetic Resonance. Today we're going to be discussing detoxing. I want to start by saying that everything shared in this episode is meant for education and awareness, not medical advice. I'm not here to diagnose or treat anyone. What I share reflects research, traditional knowledge, and approaches commonly discussed in holistic and integrative health spaces. Bodies are unique, and what works for one person may not be appropriate for another. Please use this information as a starting point for your own research and conversations with qualified professionals. This episode is about understanding the body and its environment, not fear and not force. Some topics discussed may not be recognized or addressed in conventional medical settings, and that distinction is intentional. Many people struggle with chronic symptoms that don't show up on standard tests. In the U.S., regular testing focuses on acute diseases, not chronic microbial burden. Other countries like Europe and parts of Asia commonly test for intestinal parasites with a stool PCR and ova and parasite panels. They also test for fungal overgrowth of yeasts and molds and biofilm-related infections. If the system only looks for emergencies, it misses what slowly drains the body over time. This is why the U.S. doesn't routinely test for these. Insurance drives medicine. Tests must be fast, cheap, tied to FDA-approved treatments, and parasites, molds, and yeasts are often chronic, hard to detect, and not always treated with a single pharmaceutical. Stool tests in the U.S. often miss parasites due to life cycle timing, and they require multiple samples, which is rarely done. And mold illness isn't universally recognized as a diagnosis. This doesn't mean doctors are malicious. It means the system isn't designed for terrain-based illnesses. These are the symptoms by type of overgrowth and infestation. For parasites, symptoms vary by species and location, but common patterns include digestive issues such as bloating that's often worse at night, alternating constipation and diarrhea, anal itching, especially at nighttime, unexplained nausea, and visible mucus in the stool. It also includes neurological and mood symptoms such as brain fog, anxiety or restlessness, irritability, sleep disturbances, and night waking often between 1 and 3 a.m. There's also systemic side effects such as fatigue despite adequate sleep, low iron or anemia, unexplained weight changes, nutrient deficiencies, and sugar or carb cravings. If it's a yeast or fungal overgrowth with candida-type patterns, it can affect your digestive tract by giving you gas, bloating after meals, white-coated tongue, strong sugar cravings, and food sensitivities. It can also affect your skin and mucous membranes with recurrent yeast infections, rashes, eczema, psoriasis, fungal toenails, and an itchy scalp. They also affect your cognitive and emotional well-being with brain fog, depressive symptoms, mood swings, and feeling inflamed or heavy. If you have mold or mycotoxin exposure, the neurological effects can include headaches or migraines, memory issues, dizziness, and sensitivity to light or sound. It can affect your respiratory system with chronic sinus congestion, postnasal drip, shortness of breath, and asthma-like symptoms. Systemically, it can affect you by giving you joint pain, chronic fatigue, temperature regulation issues, and heightened chemical sensitivity. Next, we'll cover biofilm presence, which is often overlooked. Biofilms allow organisms to persist and resist. Signs biofilms may be involved include symptoms that return after treatment, reactions to supplements, partial improvement, and then a plateau of symptoms, like it's just really not getting any better past a certain point, or chronic infections without a clear cause. Here's where an alkaline favoring diet changes the terrain. Blood pH is tightly regulated, but tissue, gut, and cellular environments absolutely respond to the diet you consume. This is how alkalinity helps. It reduces inflammatory signaling, lowers excess fermentation in the gut, improves oxygen availability at tissue levels, and it supports mineral balance, especially magnesium and potassium. Organisms thrive in high sugar environments, low oxygen tissues, acidic inflamed terrain, and mineral depleted systems. Alkaline favoring foods commonly discussed are leafy greens, cucumbers, herbs, lemons and limes, which alkalize after metabolism, and mineral-rich water. Whenever it comes to some things that people think of as acidic, it's acidic where it matters in the stomach, but then your body processes it as alkaline after that. That includes lemon and limes, and then also most of your peppers and things like that. Nice and acid for the stomach, alkaline for the rest of the body. So this isn't about extremes. It's about shifting the internal environment so it's less hospitable for these things to invade you and make a home. This is how parasites are commonly acquired. One of the ways is through inhalation. Microscopic eggs or spores can be airborne. You also have dust from contaminated soil, mold spores in water-damaged buildings, and agricultural areas such as barns and old buildings. Next is soil and different surfaces can affect you when you're like gardening without gloves, walking barefoot, pet fur, especially in dogs and cats, and playgrounds and sandboxes. Next is your food and water. Unwashed produce, undercooked foods, contaminated water, and cross-contamination on surfaces does affect you. Exposure doesn't equal illness. Your body terrain determines whether or not they stay and affect you. Another thing that can affect you is low salt intake and your stomach acid. This is why salt matters. Stomach acid is hydrochloric acid. Chloride from salt is required to produce it. Low salt intake equals low stomach acid, which is hypochlorhydria. Low stomach acid leads to poor protein digestion, undigested food fermenting, increased susceptibility to pathogens, and nutrient malabsorption like iron, B12, and zinc. Lower acid doesn't protect you in your stomach. It actually opens a door to issues. Side effects from all these things include negative effects on your liver, kidneys, genes, reproductive organs, your heart, brain, skin, and immune system. Common symptoms in children include headaches, stomach pain, fatigue, anemia, learning problems, and vomiting. So for mercury, some of the sources you get it from is seafood, dental amalgams, which are silver fillings that can be made of metal alloys used for tooth fillings. They're made from liquid mercury mixed with powdered silver, tin, copper, and zinc, which the FDA and ADA recognize has mercury vapor release, but they deem it safe. Some of the symptoms of this toxicity include anxiety and irritability, tremors, brain fog, and immune dysfunction. Next, we have lead. Some of the sources include old paint, water pipes, or soil. The symptoms include fatigue, cognitive impairment, joint pain, and digestive issues. After that, we have aluminum, which comes from cookware, antacids, and deodorants. The symptoms you have from being exposed to too much aluminum is neurological issues, memory problems, and bone weakness. Next, we have cadmium. Sources where you can get that is cigarettes and fertilizers, but it's also been found in some chocolates and salts. Symptoms include kidney stress, bone loss, and fatigue. Heavy metals can feed microbes and stabilize biofilms for these other intestinal issues. Some people go for an herbal detox, and these are the commonly discussed approaches. This is an educational overview of what is commonly discussed in the integrative and herbal traditions. Commonly used herbal categories include antiparasitic, antifungal herbs such as wormwood, black walnut hull, clove, oregano, and garlic. It's often rotated, not used continuously. There's also biofilm supportive compounds such as enzyme-based supports, certain plant extracts, and mineral-based disruptors. One of the most important parts of when you're detoxing is binders. It's a critical step. This is why they matter. When organisms die, like parasites and molds and yeasts, they release endotoxins, mycotoxins, and heavy metals. Without binders there to help your system get rid of them, toxins recirculate in your system. The symptoms intensify, and detox reactions occur such as headache, fatigue, nausea, and anxiety. These are some of the common binder types discussed. Activated charcoal, which is one that I use, bentonite clay, zeolite, which many use, but I don't, as they have natural and synthetic ones on the market. And if it's not clearly stated, I wouldn't, as the synthetic form is not good. And then there's also fiber-based binders. So this is what happens if you kill too much too fast. It's extremely important that you don't do this because your possible reactions are severe fatigue, headaches, flu-like symptoms, skin eruptions, anxiety or panic, and digestive shutdown. It happens because the liver becomes overwhelmed. The lymphatic system is stagnant, and there's insufficient elimination pathways. Detox isn't about force, it's about flow. So foundational detox support is often overlooked, and it includes hydration, mineral support, regular bowel movements, liver and bile flow support, and nervous system regulation. The body clears what it can safely move. One of the best ways to encompass a lot of the support with the detox is fulvic acid. Fulvic acid is a naturally occurring organic acid formed through the decomposition of ancient plant matter. It's part of the humic substance family and is found in healthy soil, mineral-rich water, shilajit, and certain peat and sediment deposits. The key distinction is fulvic acid is extremely small at the molecular level. It's water soluble and it carries a negative electrical charge. That combination is what gives it a unique detox and transportation abilities. This is why it's different from other detox supports. Most detox agents work in one compartment, the gut, the liver, or the blood. Fulvic acid works across compartments, including inside your cells, because it can pass through cell membranes, bind to minerals, metals, and toxins, and shuttle substances into or out of our cells. This makes it more of a transport molecule than a simple binder. This is how it supports detox across molds, yeasts, and parasites. It has multiple active binding sites, allowing it to attach to heavy metals, bind mycotoxins, and it's complex with microbial waste products. Unlike harsh chelators, fulvic acid is often described as low force, gradual, and terrain supportive. This is why many people include it during long-term protocols rather than aggressive cleanses. For parasites in fulvic acid does not kill parasites directly. Instead, it disrupts their preferred environment. It improves mineral status, making the host less hospitable to the parasite. It assists in binding waste released when organisms die, and it supports immune signaling at the cellular level. This indirect approach is why some people tolerate it better than aggressive antiparasitics. For yeast and fungal overgrowth, fulvic acid helps by reducing oxidative stress, supporting mineral-dependent enzymes, assisting toxin removal from fungal die-off, and improving cellular oxygen utilization. Fungi thrive in low mineral, low oxygen environments. Fulvic acid works against that terrain. Here's how it helps mold and mycotoxins. Because mycotoxins are lipophilic and persistent, they can lodge in your tissues. They can recycle through bile and cross the blood-brain barrier. Fulvic acid is often discussed as helpful because it binds certain mycotoxins. It improves bile flow indirectly and supports mitochondrial resilience. Plus, it works synergistically with binders rather than replacing them. Fulvic acid is also a cellular electrolyte system. This is one of the most misunderstood but most important aspects. Fulvic acid contains trace minerals in ionic form. naturally chelated electrolytes, and elements already pre-digested by nature. This matters because electrolytes don't just act in the gut or the bloodstream. They can regulate cellular voltage, control nerve signaling, and support mitochondrial energy production. And they maintain hydration inside your cells. Fulvic acid helps deliver minerals across cell membranes, into the mitochondria, and into enzymatic pathways. Hydration isn't just about water, it's about electrical charge at the cellular level. This is how fulvic acid interacts with biofilms. Biofilms are stabilized by metals, mineral imbalances, and electrostatic bonding. Fulvic acid helps by competing for metal binding, altering electrical charge in the biofilm matrix, and supporting gradual breakdown without massive die-off. This is why it's often paired with enzymes, binders, and a gentle antimicrobial. So fulvic acid is often used with binders. Fulvic acid moves your toxins. It doesn't always escort them fully out of the body. That's where the binders come in. Without binders, mobilized toxins can recirculate, symptoms can flare up, and neurological reactions may occur. With binders, fulvic acid helps mobilize and binders help eliminate. Think fulvic acid is your transporter and binders is the exit strategy. Next, there are some people who use borax. Boron is a trace mineral naturally found in soil, plants, water, and is essential for bone metabolism, hormone regulation, and cell membrane stability. This is why boron comes up in parasite discussions. Some individuals discuss boron compounds because boron affects fungal and parasitic environments. It can interfere with biofilm stability and influence mineral balance and pH signaling. Borax is not approved as a supplement, it is not regulated for ingestion, and discussions around it exist outside conventional medical frameworks. Some people discuss boron compounds in alternative spaces, but this is not something to experiment with casually or without professional guidance. So when the terrain changes, what doesn't belong often leaves on its own. True detox isn't about stripping the body, it's about restoring the conditions where the body can finally regulate itself. I personally use intestinal guard that I get off of Amazon. It has wormwood, black walnut, pumpkin seed, papaya, and many other great ingredients for a parasite cleanse. I pair that treatment with either a dry fast or a liquid-only fast for efficacy, but that's not required. I do that about twice yearly. I also use fulvic acid in the liquid form in the mornings with my water. I get it from hbnaturals.com. They also have a powder form if that's what you prefer. The seller has a Facebook group called the Holistic Hippie Non-Toxic Healthy Living and has all the protocols on there for how to take it and everything. Another modality I personally use is borax. It's not an everyday thing. I personally use it once a year for detox. Protocols for that are easy to find online, or there's many Facebook groups that discuss that as well. One of my favorite Facebook groups is called Borax Group. Obviously, the best line of defense is prevention, and I do this to the best of my ability by adhering to a primarily alkaline diet. As a binder, I like to use activated charcoal when doing my detoxes. Healing doesn't come from attacking the body, it comes from understanding it. Also on my website, next to the episode description, I have links to the hbnaturals.com and that Facebook group that I mentioned, and the link to Amazon for the intestinal guard. When we address terrain, though, instead of just symptoms, when we support elimination instead of forcing detox, and when we move with patience instead of urgency, the body often knows exactly how to release what's been weighing it down. Hidden invaders lose their power when awareness returns. This is reclamation, not battle. So basically, if we make the environment in our body unfriendly to them, then they will leave. This is just a way that if you're sick of feeling bad and everything else, that it could be used as a tool to help detox your body from all the heavy metals, the yeasts, the molds, and the parasites, because you will feel so much better after you do that. Before I close today, I want to share something new I'm offering for those who feel drawn to it. I've started creating intuitive bracelets, each one made slowly, intentionally, and with care. I work with natural stones, intuitive patterning, and grounding intention. And every bracelet comes with a written scroll explaining the stones, their purpose, and how to work with the piece. There are a few different options depending on what feels right for you, from foundational intuitive bracelets to more personalized pieces that include gematria and deeper pairing. Nothing here is meant to fix or change you. These are simply tools of support, grounding, clarity, and integration. If you're interested, you can find more information on my website under the Resonance Bracelets tab. As always, trust what resonates, leave what doesn't, and thank you for being here with me. Also, if there's a subject you feel called to hear more about, you're welcome to message me on my socials. I keep a running list of topics that come through that way. In my next episode, I will be covering the Book of Enoch. Until next time, may your path be aligned, your gnosis be clear, and the veil be ever thin. Thank you for all the love and support. Much positive vibes.